How do you decide what currency pairs to trade as a Forex trader? Let's get into that and more right now. Hi Forex traders, Andrew Mitchem here, the owner of the Forex Trading Coach. This is video and podcast number 235. Now I get a lot of questions saying, hey Andrew, can you tell me which currency pairs I should be trading? Which should I be focusing on? Because it's quite difficult for people to know which currencies to look at. There's so many obviously out there to look at. And it's a thing that confuses so many people. So let me give you some tips and some helpful information of how I go through this process. First of all, it doesn't matter where you live. You know, a lot of people say they live in the UK and they say, I want to only trade like the British pound pairs. Or a lot of people live in Canada, only want to trade the Canadian pairs. It doesn't matter. Just because I live in New Zealand doesn't mean to say I just trade New Zealand dollar pairs. It really does not matter. The other thing to be careful of is a lot of people also say just focus on the major pairs, you know, like the Euro US, the Pound US, US Swiss franc, Aussie US, US yen, etc., US Canadian. The problem is, you notice they're all contained in the US. So therefore, what you're trading is very heavily dependent on the direction and the strength or weakness of the US dollar at that time. So if you're generally trading the major pairs only, then half of what you're trading is focused on what the US dollar is doing. So that means you are either going to be completely right or completely wrong on the vast majority of those trades that you take if they're all correlated. So for me, it's like definitely look at some of those minor pairs and the exotic pairs, but only to a degree. Like I personally don't go trading like Norwegian kroners and South African rand and all that. I just stick to the majors, which are the US dollar, the euro, the pound, Swiss franc, British pound, the Aussie, Kiwi, and the Canadian. I might have missed one, but the main 8. And so stick to those and the combinations of each other. So as an example, I've taken a trade today on the New Zealand Canadian dollar. It's fine because it's taking 2 of the main currencies. It could be like the Australian dollar against the yen. It could be something like the Canadian Swiss franc. It could be a combination of those. So personally, I would stick to those main 8 currencies and combinations of each of them. So it doesn't matter where you live in the world or what your local currency is or what your account's denominated in. None of that really matters. To me, it's, as a technical trader, it's all about what is showing the best setup right at the time that I'm taking the trade. Now, I only ever look at a chart upon the completion of a candle. So if I'm looking at a daily chart, it's only once a day. If it's a 4-hour chart, it's once every 4 hours. And as you probably know, I've got some great software that allows myself and my clients to trade what we call offline charts, which are non-standard MT4 charts. And we get tremendous success on those charts. And they are charts such as like 6 hours, 8 hours, and 12-hour charts. Great thing about a 12-hour chart, you just need to look twice a day, and that's it. And it's only at the completion of the candle. Because we're taking retracement orders, we don't even need to be there at exactly the time the candle closes. You've got a lot of time on a 12-hour chart to be able to get to your computer and place a trade, like many hours. So it's all about the technical trades. That's how I decide which currency pairs I'm going to trade at the time. Yes, I use strength and weakness. As you know, I focus a lot on strength and weakness because it makes logical sense. If the New Zealand dollar is looking really strong and the Canadian dollar is looking really weak, then obviously I should be focusing on looking for buy trades on the New Zealand Canadian dollar if they show, because it adds more probability to the trade. I also need to look at the chart. What is giving me the best technical setup? What has the least path of resistance in its way? You know, what has let's say we're buying. Let's say what has no previous swing highs nearby? What has a lot of room to move towards the upper Bollinger Band, let's say? What has no major near-term resistance in the way? What has a round number I can use as a stop loss to protect my stop loss below my buy trade? All sorts of things like that I'm looking for. You know, what has a trendline break? What has divergence? What has daily strength and weakness? All those things, put them together to form the technical chart pattern, the setup, the candle pattern that we're looking for, that has lots of multiple factors all showing at the same time to back it up. what has reasons to help protect the trade, as in the stop loss, and what has fewer paths of resistance, so therefore it's giving my trade the best opportunity to get to my profit target. Put all that together, and I don't really care whether it's the New Zealand against the Canadian, or the US against the yen, or the British pound against the Aussie dollar. It doesn't really matter too much, because it's technically getting the setup right on the time frame that I'm looking at, on the pair that I'm looking at. Put all that together. Has it got room to move? Yes. Is it giving me a high reward to risk? Yes. Is there protection for the trade? Yes. Technical setup? Yes. Has it got strength and weakness from like the daily or even a weekly chart backing it up? Yes, it does. Take the trade. It really does need to come down to being as simple as that to select which trades you take, which currency pairs. Use profiles on MT4. So put all the currency pairs on, say, like 4-hour charts, and then daily charts or weekly charts or any other time frames all together as a profile on MT4. Makes it then very easy to go through and select your profile. Like, I know that in an hour from now I've got the 4-hour charts changing over. Select the 4-hour charts, scan through the charts, any technical setups, yes, maybe, no, whatever it might be, take the trade. Come back and look 4 hours later for another potential trade setup again. So I hope that helps. This is Andrew Mitchem, the Forex Trading Coach. Have a great weekend. I'll see you this time next week.